You have to figure out how you're going to run your business.
But like you said, there's 20 ways to skin a cat.
I really pride myself on my business looking like that.
Wow. So real estate for you wasn't, showing these beautiful houses, always looking fantastic with all these amazing clients right from the beginning?
No, it absolutely wasn't. It was after a 20-year career of teaching. So it was different for me. It was a different transition, but I loved it. I'm very happy.
I can imagine. And I can imagine that it was really hard for you. I'm so sorry what happened with your mom. I'm sure that it was really hard for you to not only deal with that, but also completely transition to a new career from nothing. So I think a lot of the listeners can really relate because a lot of women have to reinvent themselves constantly. So what would you say was like the number one thing that you would recommend to someone who is completely switching careers from like A to Z?
I think the biggest thing is trying to learn as much as you can around the career that you're going into. I think you have to find a mentor in that field who you trust, which is sometimes difficult because you're not sure because it's so out of your wheelhouse. But if you can find a mentor to sit down with, break bread with them, plan phone calls weekly, ask them for suggestions on either podcasts to listen to, books to read, or even other people they know who they think may be helpful for your start. It's imperative because without a mentor, starting over in a new career is almost impossible.
Agreed. So how did you go about finding that mentor?
Ironically, I was about to sell a property we had. And I was using somebody I knew who is actually my friend's husband. And he and I were speaking a lot in this process of listing my property and so on. And he actually said, you'd be great in this business. And he said, I have somebody I want you to talk to. And it was his broker, which turned out to be my first broker and was a true blessing to my business. And so when I sat down with him, he almost assessed my personality. He was very excited I was a teacher. I will tell you that because he's like, teachers are so organized and used to having a schedule and all these things. But he really looked at who I was as a person and was able to say to me, there's a million ways to skin this real estate cat. You have to figure out how you're going to run your business. And he said, my suggestion would be is you work with the people you know. You have been living in this community for your whole life. You have been a teacher for 20 years here. People trusted you with their most sacred person on the planet for how long? These are people who already trust you. So work with that. And I thought, okay. And in that, as I'm on the other side of real estate 4 years, almost 5 years now, I realized what he was saying is, I don't really have leads for you. So you're going to have to figure out how to build your business. And I'm very grateful for that because my business can sustain now without relying on somebody handing leads to me. And for that, I'm forever grateful to his advice and his mentorship on how to go about doing that.
Yeah, that was great advice because I think a lot of people think there's only one way to do it because most people have their way. But like you said, there's 20 ways to skin a cat. So I would love for you to talk about more what you think sets you apart in your real estate business, because I know that you do a lot of things in your own special way.
I do, for sure. And I think the first thing I did was really gather everyone, my sphere of influence, which you'll hear a lot of people call it, or you're building a database, which I did, but I was very intentional about it. I did the hard work, and it was hard for me because you feel like you're selling something. But the reality is, once I started doing deals, I knew how much value I had brought to the table. I learned from agents on the other side, kind of the do's and don'ts, what I wasn't really impressed with and wouldn't want my clients, to have to go through. But I also took from them too. And I knew when I was asking somebody, hey, if you were to refer, your friend or family member to somebody, a real estate agent, who would it be? And most of the times they're like, I don't really know. I don't really know. And I'm like, well, I would really like to be that person for you. And it's really putting yourself out there to ask that. But I was so confident because I knew how hard I worked in every deal I had done, what I brought to the table, always going the extra mile. Customer service was really important to me. And there are some agents and brokers who would say, you don't need to be doing all that. But that's what felt really good to me and made me really enjoy this job because I was bringing every client my 100% best that I could. So I think cultivating my database, really asking them, can I be the real estate agent that you would refer to your friends and family? And nurturing that with phone calls and popping by with little gifts. And we do a newsletter and send information and really just talking to them and being there for them. Another key thing that I did was I had a list of vendors. My clients, my database knows if you need something in this area, it doesn't even have to be house related. Call me. If I don't know, which I'm happy to always say, I don't know, but I can figure out a way to help you or find something you need. And our database really does that. They will call, even for school advice. It's really funny. They're like, we're not sure who to reach out to. What do you think about this school or what, And I really pride myself on my business looking like that because I do want to be helpful in our community. It is a small community and I have been here my whole life, with the exception of college. I went away for years, but I came right back here. So just nurturing my database, letting them know I'm here to help them with anything they really could possibly run into within our community, keeping them up to date on the market, especially here. I had someone tell me once the real estate market is as local as the weather. So a lot of times people will call and they will hear the national news and somebody talking about real estate on a national level. And it's like, well, we're in a really unique space here in South Florida. It's a little different, and teaching them, which is also a blessing because I do feel like I still am teaching just much bigger kids now than when I was a teacher. So I really enjoy that part of it too. There's still an educational component on so many levels. And again, just being available to them when they find themselves in a situation, always here and ready when they know somebody who is ready to buy or sell, and providing the best service once they do. It was kind of a running joke. All my friends were like, I'm glad you're doing real estate, but I don't have any plans on selling my house. And I'd be like, well, my business plan isn't exactly to get rid of everyone I know, have everyone move. That would be a really bad business plan. But my business plan is to hope that you would trust me to help out, your friends and family.